Welcome to the Comic Shop Reading Room. My name is Eric.
And I'm Scott.
And if you listened to the most recent episode of the podcast, which was issue 75, then you know what we're doing. If you just stumbled on this video, please listen to our podcast. It's called The Comic Shop, facebook.com/thecomic-shop1. You can find it there. So if you listen to issue 75, you know what's going on, but just a quick primer. We wanted to... I had an idea kicking around in my brain, and it was bolstered very strongly by some feedback we got from a listener. Thank you very much, Nathan.
The best bartender I know.
We wanted to get kind of back to roots and start talking about comic books. But I wanted to pull it off in a way that didn't add any more content, specifically add any more length to the podcast, because the podcast can sometimes be excessively long.
Yep.
And I want to keep the podcast kind of like what it is, because it's been going, for a year and a half now, and I don't want to change that. I don't want to mess with that formula. So we launched this new YouTube channel called The Comic Shop Reading Room. So what we're going to do is every week, ideally, we may not be able to pull that off. We're going to record a quick, maybe 5 or 10 minute video where Scott and I pick a book, and there's no rules really for this. So we're not going to limit ourselves to the two big houses.
I already found out.
That is true. We're going to limit ourselves to the two. We're not going to limit ourselves to the two houses, the two big houses. We're not going to. We can talk about old books. We can talk about old story arcs. We can talk about brand new stuff. We can talk about digital stuff. So old Marvel, new Marvel, Valiant, Image, anything else, anything pretty much is fair game. So that being said, let's talk about comic books.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scott, what'd you bring up?
I haven't bought anything new in a very long time.
Right.
So, when I think comic books and I think artists, you got to think the biggest, the best. Who better than Alex Ross?
Alex Ross.
Marvels.
That's how you kick a YouTube channel off
This is Marvels.
with a bang, is with Alex Ross.
And I also have, that's the compended edition, but I also have the individual books for their value, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the Marvels is a story written from the perspective of an aging reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And
So art by Alex Ross,
Yeah.
story by Kurt Busiek?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, what is that splash page?
The one with the invaders?
Yeah. Any big splash
Any
page,
big
'cause there's
splash
some
page
big
in that
ones.
book.
But you can continue for just a second waxing.
So this, how long ago was this released?
Oh God, a while ago.
It was in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't
Well,
tell you right off the top of my
yeah.
head, but yeah. It was a while back. I'm just trying to find a splash.
It's kind of the history of...
See, like,
here we go.
Alex Ross's art right there is
Silver
Silver
Surfer
Surfer and Galactus. Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, very nice.
And it looks like paintings rather than comic book art. But yeah, it's a great story. I don't know if anybody else is. I don't know if you've ever read it.
I have read parts of it now that you bring it up, but it was a while ago that I read it, and it's basically the superhero story told from the point of view of a reporter as he ages.
As he ages.
Through
So no super people are telling this story. He's telling it about super people.
Right. That other perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That ground level perspective is something that works a lot in storytelling.
It's a really,
especially
really
in
good
epic
story.
storytelling.
Especially through this guy's whole life with stuff that happens, like he's near a super battle and he gets hit in the head with a rock and it takes his eye out. And little things like that.
So then the rest he has to wear an eye patch for the rest of the
Yeah.
arc. Very cool.
It's pretty cool stuff.
Nice.
Also, way back in the day, did anybody ever get like Happy Meals, Kids Meals, and they were promoting comic books at the
This
time?
stuff is legitimately kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of campy and stuff, but this is a Pizza Hut. They're still sealed back in their packages. Little cards in there.
Let me see that.
Yeah, there's cards in every one of them.
And they're wicked thin.
They're very thin. They're
Yeah.
small, really small books. So there's a Pizza Hut version.
But you don't really need ads in
And I
this
don't know if
because
this
the
one-
ad is right up in the corner there
I
where it
can't
says
remember
Pizza
where this
Hut.
one came from. If it was Taco Bell or no, this one's Pizza Hut as well. Yeah, more Pizza Hut.
Storm and the Submariner must stop the raging Hulk and Wolverine or the Earth is doomed.
Yeah.
You could find that on a regular book. And that description on the cover, the splash on the cover, you could find that in a regular
Yeah,
Marvel
when you were
X-Men arc
when you were
book.
kids and you were out with your parents eating and you got these books, what'd you do? Tear them up and read them, put them in the rest of
Yeah,
your books.
but somebody got these and they knew.
Yeah.
We'll call this mint on card. That's what we'll call that. This is some pretty groovy stuff.
There's 2 sets of 4.
Nice.
It's just little things that I find in my travels. But the
Yeah,
fact
you
that
do
they
come
were
up-
still sealed.
You do
was-
come up with a couple. You come up with some nuggets every so often. That's some pretty cool stuff. All right.
You bring it down. What you
Okay,
bringing
so
here?
actually, I brought something new, and what I brought was it's a digital book that launched late last year, and it's called Firebrand. It's an indie book. I'm getting it through Webtoons, which I think is the only place you can get it right now. Webtoons is an app, but it's kind of like for lack of a better term, a publishing house for digital content. So this is called Firebrand. It's created, written by Jessica Chobot and Erica Lewis, with art by Claudia Aguirre. I apologize if I am butchering the pronunciation of her last name. I came about it by being a fan of Jessica Chobot, who works for Nerdist. She used to work for IGN. She does stuff like Nerdist News. She does
Chris Hardwick, Nerdist?
Chris Hardwick Nerdist, yeah. She does a Bizarre States podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. Just she sits down with another guy and talks about like just weird stuff, paranormal stuff, cryptic stuff.
This is from it. It looks like anime type,
It's
almost manga.
it's stylized art. The premise is it's kind of got a Harry Potter vibe to it, at least at the start of it. The premise is that there's a subsection of humanity that kind of has a genetic link to this mystical power set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I won't get too deep into the weeds on it, but it kind of veers away from that Harry Potter thing where the stuff that happens doesn't happen in the setting of a school. The stuff that happens in like modern day Seattle.
Oh.
And you've got this group of people. They're essentially, for lack of a better term, witches. They're spellcasting and stuff like that. And then there's like soul vampires, and there's imps, and there's bad guys. And if you watch Troll Hunters, which was on Netflix,
Very good, by the way.
a Guillermo del Toro joint. That make a good movie. It's kind of like that, but more mature. But it's still kind of geared toward a younger audience. But I mean, as a 41-year-old guy, I still like the art is stylized a little bit, but I don't like a lot of stylized art in my books. Yeah, let me pull up a panel and just give you an
Find
idea.
a nice splash page.
Everything's kind of a splash page in these books.
Well, yeah, because you're limited.
Yeah, let me find a more current panel, not some stuff from the backstory. The art is, like I said, it's kind of stylized. Like it's, there's, I don't know how well you can see that. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna take screenshots. I'm gonna edit them into the video because that's a heck of a lot less awkward than what I just tried to do.
Yeah, it was kind of.
It's
glary.
like I said, it's stylized, but it's not stylized to the point of being distracting. So it doesn't take me out of my comfort zone when it comes to the art. The art is consistently good. The writing is consistently good. A little bit of mild profanity, a little bit of blood. If you've got a teenager that you don't mind a little bit of that stuff in the content that they look at, the stuff that they consume, this is perfect for them. But, I mean, like I said, as a 41-year-old guy, I'm digging the story quite a bit and getting a kick out of it. So it's Firebrand, The Initiation of Natalie Presano. And like I said, Jessica Chobot and Erica Lewis writing, art by Claudia Aguirre. Taylor Esposito's doing the lettering. So just if you have the Webtoons, a free app, the book's free. They're releasing at a ridiculous clip. They started in December and they're already up to 15 issues.
Wow.
They're short, kind of like a digital comic. Generally speaking, is a half or a little bit more than half the length of a
I
regular
have
print
yet
book.
to cross the digital threshold.
You should. Come on. I mean, come on. You're not buying all your movies on VHS.
No.
I'm saying.
No.
You buy the Blu-rays when you can. You've crossed that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
within a specific medium, but all right. So
I like to hold it in my hands, man.
I hold this in my hand.
Like
as
I can
read
hold
the-
this in my hands.
I can't argue
Look at
this
that.
point.
Batman, Spider-Man. Look at that. Two great tastes that go great together. Anyway.
I can't argue about when I look at a book that I know is like 20 or 30 years old and I open it up.
You kidding me? We
And I
picked up
see the
Marvels
old
and
ads.
he was reading it for like 5 minutes
I
before
know,
we started this.
I know, and I see the old ads and I feel the texture of the paper and you can smell the book. I can't argue with that. However, I mean, the future's now,
The future
my brother.
is,
The future's now.
future's crap. I can hold this. Anyway.
That's a conversation for another time. All right, so that's kind of the taste. We'll move along. The production
Yeah,
value.
this is just the inception.
The production value is going to be just
Probably the same.
crud at the beginning. We might be able to improve it a little bit over time, but this is a first. if you've been with us listening since the start of the comic shop, you know how much the podcast itself has organically changed over the course of its life. This will change, but this kind of gives you an idea of how we would like to spend a little bit of time every week talking about actual comic books. Because that's the source of all of this stuff. That's the source of all the stuff we talk about every day anyway.
Without this stuff, there would be no
Right.
podcast.
So,
There would be no CW shows.
that's the theme. That's the tagline of the Comic Shop Reading Room is go back to
Remember,
the source.
visit a brick and mortar.
Visit a brick and mortar. I'm the one that brought digital, but I was at a brick and mortar yesterday, in fact.
And you didn't buy anything knowing we were going to do this?
No, because I already knew I was going to buy. I actually was going to buy something for the next episode.
Oh, okay.
Of this, but they stopped carrying it, so I was like, crud, I'm gonna have to find it somewhere else.
Oh.
Anyway, not to belabor that point. So, if you watch YouTube on a regular basis, you know I'm about to point downward. Like, subscribe, and comment, if you would please. Other than that, facebook.com/thecomicshop1. Feed us back at acpodcast1@gmail.com or hit us up in the comments below. Like, subscribe. You guys know how that works. So this is Scott.
Yes, it is.
And my name is Eric, and we will see you all next week in the reading room.
Maybe.
Thanks. Maybe. Optimism, son, optimism.
I'm sure you're going to hit.
Bye, folks.